That was
Don't think it.
horrible.
Don't say it. Don't think it. Don't say it. Don't think it. You're gonna say it. You're gonna think it. Don't say. Oh,
Bye, man.
oh! You said it. Bye.
You'll never guess what we watched this week.
I don't know. What'd you watch? Isaac, co-host of the podcast.
I don't know, Derek, other co-host of the podcast. Maybe a little movie called The Bye Man.
Bye.
Not to be confused with the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man, apparently.
No, but it's the same guy.
It's the same.
They did the same thing. One guy smeared poop on walls. The other guy smeared poops on walls.
That's exactly what happened in this movie.
That is what happened in the movie. So anyway, I'm Derek.
I'm Isaac.
We're the hosts of That Was Horrorble. Horrorble. Every week we look at a movie, bad reviews, we talk about it.
Yeah.
Why is that those bad reviews?
A bad reviewed horror movie, right?
Oh, yes. Specifically horror movies. So
and pretend we know anything about anything to be reviewing these movies.
That's a good point. Yeah, we don't know anything. We're just a couple of dudes who like movies.
But we're having fun.
But we're having a great time. And I think we learn things. And we learn a lot about ourselves.
Learn things about ourselves and each other and the way of the world.
Yeah.
And how some movies have better cinematography than they deserve.
Oh, foreshadowing. Which is a thing that happens in cinematography.
A bit, right? So, Derek, you want to tell me some stuff about the making of this movie?
Yeah, we're jumping right in. So this is The Bye Man. It was made in 2017. It is currently sitting at a 4.3 on IMDb, a 37 on Metacritic, and then the Rotten Tomatoes, which is where we get most of our ideas from. Mm-hmm. The critics rating is an 18, and the audience rating is a 22, and those are out of 100.
Bumping it up 4 points for the
4
audience.
points.
So it sounds like the critics and the audience members really kind of got along on the verdict of this movie.
I don't know, 4 points out of 100, man. That's 4%.
That's true. That's
pretty big difference.
Everybody's a critic.
Everybody's a critic. So it was an estimated $7.4 million budget. You will never guess how much this movie grossed. $30 million.
Wow.
It made $23 million more than it cost to make.
It's that Netflix power, right?
I guess, but it's been out for 5 years now, 6 years now.
That is very impressive, honestly.
I am just shook. I am shook. So it was based on one chapter from a book that we'll kind of talk about later.
It's a neat concept.
Robert Damon Schneck is the guy who wrote this book. And it actually took me a while to find the book because there's another book by the same name. It's called The President's Vampire. It's a book about it's a book about strange but true tales from the USA. And then the tagline says contains scrupulously
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at words.
That's the word, yeah.
Scrupulously documented accounts of ghost monsters and hoaxes.
I gotta read this book now.
Robert Damon Schneck, the guy who wrote this book, he leads a little group of people. It's like an AA group, but for people who have had paranormal experiences.
Oh, okay.
He's like the president of it, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's based on one chapter from that book. It's not based on the book.
That's a whole movie based off of one chapter.
One book made on one chapter.
Which is really interesting.
Very interesting. So Jonathan Penner and Stacy Title, they are husband and wife, and they wrote and directed the movie.
Wowzers.
Jonathan Penner, he was the writer. He hasn't really done anything writing-wise that's of note, but he was in 3 seasons of Survivor. Which is what got him, so that was like his fame. So like people know him as Jonathan Penner, guy from Survivor.
Incredible, and writer of The Bye Man.
Yeah, really though, it's so strange. And in the movie, he plays the guy who owns the flower shop.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did mention that.
So Stacy Title directed. She didn't really do anything of note. They did a lot together. Unfortunately, though, actually kind of sad. She was taken. She died. She had ALS and passed away in 2021.
Oh, gosh.
So yeah, really sad.
This one's for you.
Yeah,
Stacy Title.
Our hearts go out to her family for sure. So yeah, that is the introduction for The Bye Man.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about what we were expecting to get out of this film?
Yeah, we'll go into the expectations. Why don't you start off, Isaac?
Yeah, sure. So We tried something a little bit different this time. We watched, because neither of us really knew anything beyond like the poster for the movie, and that was really it. So we decided, let's get in here and watch like a trailer for it and see how that goes. And so based off of what I saw in the trailer, my expectations for it were, I kind of just felt like it was going to be all over the place. There was so much that happened in this trailer. I'm like, there's no way this movie's going to follow a very linear and like well-told story, right? So I felt like the plot would kind of be all over the place. I thought the titular villain, the Bye-Bye Man, was probably going to have like too many abilities that wouldn't make a lot of sense just based off what I saw in the trailer. I thought there were going to be way too many jump scares that the movie relied on to get its fear out of the audience. I thought there were going to be some good ideas that were going to be poorly executed, and then I just really felt like it was going to be a poor use of the wonderful Doug Jones and his abilities, because he's fantastic and I love everything he does.
Yes, we should explain. Doug Jones is one of the great creature actors.
Oh, Lord.
Like, you could go on so many lists about what Doug Jones has done, but he plays the Bye-Bye Man in this movie.
Yeah, just known character actor. He's been in things like Hocus Pocus, The Shape of Water, Hellboy, and The Bye-Bye Man, Crimson Peak, Legion. The list goes on.
So many things.
Just a fantastic, scary-looking man. And a
weird,
great actor, too.
Yeah.
That's the thing as well that really impresses me about Doug Jones. Like, not only is he like, oh, he's got like long, slender body that lends itself to playing really creepy characters. He's also a good actor.
He is. He's
which
great.
is wonderful.
I love
he's
him.
in What We Do in the Shadows, and like he plays the
He's
Baron, and he acts as the Baron too. He doesn't just like portray it. You know, we don't have a man off screen saying all the lines and stuff.
Yeah, he's worth more than just the pointing that he does in this movie. Spoiler. So my expectations,
lay it on
very
me.
similar. I mean, I obviously, of course, bad acting. I think that we're gonna have a hard time avoiding that expectation.
Really, though, if in a movie that is so poorly reviewed, I hope that there's not good acting.
Right, exactly.
That'd be weird.
I expected cheesy effects. I did write cool Doug Jones. Unappealing characters was one thing I was really expecting. And then I wrote very horny teens.
Yeah.
Before I realized that they were college kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, I
Just
wasn't
horny young folk.
I was completely wrong. All right, so let's go Bye-Bye Man. Oh, I said it. I said it. No.
Oh, no, we have to cut anyone who's listened to this podcast episode.
So this will probably be a pretty spoiler-heavy episode, so just a warning right off the bat. There isn't anything too content advisory. I mean, we'll say swear words, but like, just know that we will talk about death and suicide a little bit.
And we'll say the word damn.
What? You didn't warn him beforehand. So, synopsis. Let's set the scene of the Bye-Bye Man. It takes place in, I don't even remember. We just watched this movie.
Somewhere. Maryland, I think?
Maybe? It matters so little. Anyway, small town. And
college town.
It starts off with like, you know, you meet this guy who, okay, first off, the movie opens with one of the greatest shot scenes in the movie where it like is this full house. This guy pulls up, he gets out of his car with a shotgun. He walks up towards the house. He opens up the door. He like gets ready to shoot people. And you don't really understand what's happening, but it's kind of captivating. And then he starts talking.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, you're giving it a lot more credit than it really deserves, because as soon as the man starts speaking...
As soon as he opened his mouth...
Like, oh, the acting
it
already
was so
sucks.
bad.
And honestly, some of the worst we've seen thus far in the run of the things we've watched for this podcast, and it's just... And he was not done after this first sequence, because it was like a bit of a flashback sequence to give us a bit of story that leads into the story that we end up seeing throughout the whole thing. But, like... He was not enough to be in the first part, let alone come back later as an important character.
So anyway,
but the cinematography was cool.
Yeah, the cinematography was great
throughout the entirety of it.
They were trying to do like a continuous shot, which I'm always a big fan of. They are a little overused, but I really liked it.
It can work really well.
It can. It did keep getting broken up by this like train that like kept driving through every time someone would die.
First you just hear it, and then you actually see an actual train in the dark some other place.
Yeah.
And I guess we're to believe that it's like in his head or something. I don't know.
Right. So at this point in the film, you don't really know what's going on, but this man is like, don't say it, don't think it, don't say it, don't think it. He's repeating that to himself. And then if someone hears Bye-Bye Man, they have to be killed, is basically what you find out at this point in the movie.
Yeah, so he basically is going through and finding all the people that are aware of the name and just taking them out, just killing them, friends and family.
Which I really think that at this point, maybe this guy was just kind of friendly. And he was just like, bye-bye, man, like to anyone. And it was just like a normal thing he was saying to everyone. Yeah. And then, like, he's like, oh shit, I just caused the death of like 100 people because I was friendly.
What have I done?
What have I done? I have to go kill these people.
Kindness kills.
Kindness is evil. Anyway, so then we flash forward. We've got, it's in the future now, or in current times, and we got these cool kids.
Yeah,
cool college kids.
Cool horny college kids.
What's going on with those college kids? Isaac? Tell me.
They're horny for each other, and they found a great real estate opportunity.
Yep. No, really, though. Like, the movie starts on college campus, but it's, like, on the outskirts of it, and the acting, I can't even.
The acting did not match the cinematography.
No.
Like, they really did not deserve what was given to them through that, because that is a note throughout the entirety of it. It's like, great cinematography, 100%. Some great shots, great moments, great uses of that, you know, and then they act, and you wish they hadn't.
Really, though?
Yeah, so you have three real main characters there. You've got two guys who have been friends since they were young, and then one of them has a girlfriend.
Yep.
And they all live in this house together now that they just barely got.
And right off the bat, there's so much sexual tension between the three of them, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's kind of distracting. Like, you wonder if they're in a little threesome or if they just are weird and kind of flirty with each other, which, I mean, it's not weird, but, like, you just want to know more. You want to know what's going on.
It's even brought up when, like, they throw a housewarming party for themselves, and the brother of the guy with the girlfriend sees the girlfriend dancing with his friend.
Yeah.
He's like, whoa, I'm glad you're not the jealous type.
Yeah.
Because, they were, even for friends, kind of getting real close there on the dance floor.
Kind of, like, lingering, longing looks at each other. Like, it really, I mean, I guess it kind of pays off, but, like, they really pushed this idea.
Does it really?
I
guess in small ways it does.
So there's a scene during this party where the girl, so yeah, they're throwing a little housewarming party. They've moved in. They're really cheesy lines all over the place. They're trying to be profound, and it's not really working.
Bad writing, bad script writing.
And so they're at this party, and for some stinking reason, all these college kids are drinking, and the brother of the main character, Elliot, decides to bring his daughter, who's like 6 years old.
She's a little sweetheart, but like it's very odd to see like all these college kids partying, and then she's out there on the dance floor too.
Dancing too.
This little girl does not belong here.
So she wanders off.
Yeah, she gets called to serve the bye-bye man.
So she goes up the stairs, and again, I gotta comment on the cinematography. This scene, I was mad. I was like yelling at the TV because it is a shot that like pans out from this room and makes it seem super long. This girl walks in, this little girl.
To this teeny door on one side of the room.
She walks in, she sees a teeny door on one side of the room, she opens it. On the other side, the door opens and
another teeny door.
And a hellhound or like this demon dog pops its head out.
Yeah, at the same speed that she is entering the door, the head is coming out of the opposite side of the room, and it's just like such a cool looking shot. I love that one.
I love that too. So it was at this moment that I was like, I have to know who did the cinematography. So I went and looked, and it's...
This made you mad.
I am still mad. I'm still upset. If you know anything about me, you know how much I love Mike Flanagan and his works on like The Haunting of Hill House and
Midnight
Mass and, you know, all of those great movies, Gerald's Game, and... the sequel to The Shining that I can't remember the name of right now.
Dr. Sleep?
Dr. Sleep, that's right. So James Neist is the cinematographer on this movie. Guess what else he's done? Haunting of Bly Manor. Freaking Midnight Mass. Like, it doesn't stop. He's done a bunch on American Horror Stories. Like... Why is he here?
How did they get him?
Why is such a great cinematographer?
Did they offer him? You know, what did it take?
I don't understand.
Because I doubt he would have read the script and been like, yes, this is something I should be a part of.
Really, though?
Because no. I mean, like, we're talking about, like, lines in this movie include, the girlfriend of the main character, Elliot, brings in this girl that just looks weird to the guy, and he's making fun of her, and she's wearing a hat inside, and he says, girls who wear hats inside are crazy. That's one of the lines. So this is the kind of caliber of movie we're talking about, right?
Oh, yeah. It was so shocking. So anyway, this girl goes upstairs. There's this constant theme of a coin dropping on the ground, which is kind of like, I guess, the Bye Bye Man's calling card.
Which we never really find more about.
Yeah, it just kind of is something that happens. But the coins seem important. They keep coming back.
Which again seems like a detriment to the fact that this movie is based off of one chapter of a book. Because it seems like there's a lot more information we would need to make these things make sense to us.
Really, though.
The coin is one of those that does not ever really make sense to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
That and the train.
Why?
Yeah.
Why does it keep happening? So anyway, she's like, oh, I put the coin back on your dresser. And then she tries to steal the coin.
Yeah, but then she doesn't.
But she doesn't.
Girl.
She's a good girl.
Yeah.
She like turns around in this dramatic moment, puts the coin back on the counter.
Yeah, lets you know her moral compass.
Yeah.
Right there.
Honestly proud. And then she goes downstairs and tells Elliot, hey, I didn't steal this coin. I put it back on the dresser.
Yes. So it is established that it is on the dresser.
Yeah, so what happens next?
He goes upstairs and it's not on the dresser.
It's not on the dresser anymore.
She must have been lying to him.
Uh-oh, what happened?
So then he opens the nightstand and puts it inside of it, closes the drawer, and it falls through.
Yep.
And there's no hole in there. So then he inspects the drawer to find, in a spiral pattern, circling out from the inside.
Don't say it, don't think it. Don't say it, don't think it. Don't say it, don't think it.
Over and over and over again. Don't say it, don't think it. And then you peel off that paper underneath it, and it says the name right there, etched into the wood.
Don't say it.
I got it.
You don't say it.
The Bye-Bye Man. I'm sorry. I had to be done.
So yeah, it's
and enter the antagonist.
Pretty wild how many times the characters in this movie say "Don't say it, don't think it."
Oh,
like there's a reason.
We should have kept a counter for that.
I started to, but then I was like, "There's no way." They repeat it hundreds of times to themselves. Like I feel like that could have been cool, but it was used so overwhelmingly.
Yeah,
and they were trying to get themselves from saying the Bye-Bye Man, which is on its own the dumbest name.
It just doesn't. It does not have a lot of like fear to it, you know. No. It reminds me of this scene in what was it, Monsters vs. Aliens? It's like a silly movie, right? But he's talking about how like the girl has become a big monster, now, right? Like she's a monster. What's your name? Like give me something that strikes fear. And she's like, my name is Susan. He's like, well, that's not scary, name? Right?
Bye-Bye Man.
Bye-Bye Man. Right? Again, like it's not a good monster name.
I just had a vision of the Bye-Bye Man like waving, like doing a little like finger wave. It's like Bye-Bye Man.
No, it's bad. There's no way.
Doesn't happen.
There's no way to make it good.
I wish that had happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I understand the concept is that I guess he makes you go bye-bye, but like still.
But go bye-bye is like a 2-year-old. Like, bye-bye, mommy, go bye-bye.
Exactly. And the only kid in the movie is this little girl who's only in like 2 scenes.
Really though. It's just wild.
But yeah, so then from this house party we get introduced to this witchy type girl who ends up holding a seance for them to kind of basically prove that she knows her stuff, and she just starts to say things about the characters. I guess that just saves us from having to go through like weak moments of them trying to tell us about like their dead parents and stuff like that. Like she just pulls the information out of them, and like the main character Elliot is pretty skeptic of it, but like she does know her stuff. I guess that's just to establish that she is a good witch.
It definitely implied that she had some sort of supernatural power, though, because she was legitimately reading what's his face's mind, John.
Exactly. Yeah, she was reading his mind, and then like Elliot, who was very skeptic of it, he's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go into the kitchen and hide something. He doesn't even tell her he's doing this. He walks into the kitchen, hides keys on the stove in like a little pot, and then comes back. He's like, okay. What did I hide? Where did I hide it? Yeah. And it is at this point that she's getting way too much information coming to her about the Bye-Bye Man and stuff. She starts to hear things, and she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then he's like, haha, I knew it was a fake. And then she's like, no, you hid the keys in the pot. It doesn't matter. I'm leaving.
You heard it.
Yeah, exactly.
He like starts freaking out about her hearing it.
And then they all go to bed, and then I think her and the other friend John attempt to sleep together.
So in the middle of the night, Elliot wakes up, he walks downstairs, and he starts hearing noises. And at first I was like, oh, those are just banging noises.
Yeah, exactly. Which is what it sounded like. It was that mixed with like either screeching or like nails on a chalkboard. The Foley work in this movie left a lot to be desired.
Absolutely it did. Like, because I couldn't tell if there was, like, she was transforming into a demon while they were having sex.
Exactly. It did not do well at telling the story.
And then there was, like, some dialogue that you couldn't really understand behind the door, something about, like, yeah, that's it, or something.
Some, whatever college kids are doing these days.
Yeah, those college kids. Anyway, so then he looks outside, he's all scared. And then the next morning, you see John, the guy that had sex with her, wake up and he's all pissed.
Yeah, he's angry
He's
about
just
it.
so mad.
Ugh.
And he drives her
drive
home. And then they have this conversation where she's like, don't worry, it happens to everybody.
Actually, not to me.
Not to me. This never happens. She's like, yeah, me neither.
Yeah. And then to end their conversation, she has this really bad effects happen, which actually was shown longer in the trailer for the movie than it was actually in the movie.
It was a completely different shot.
Yeah, she has these maggots coming out of her hair and out of like the corner of her eye that lands on her.
But it literally looked like they took the scene, took a picture of maggots, and laid the picture of maggots over the top in just like a random assortment.
It didn't. It was bad.
It was the worst CGI. And they're maggots.
Yeah.
Like, just do them practical. Why did you have to do that? Like,
which is enough to spook him to be like, okay, time for you to go.
Oh, you gotta go.
And then she's gone for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah.
And so, like, okay, so now he's scared, I think. At first he was just worried about, not being able to get it up in the bedroom, and now he's upset about these maggots and stuff. Elliot had heard some screeching, squelching in the night.
You know what I just figured out?
Oh.
Bye-bye man means bye-bye man.
You're talking about bye-bye to, like, his manhood?
His
Is that what you're trying to... You gotta stop trying to explain this. It's never gonna work.
No, it makes sense because he can't get it up anymore. Bye-bye manhood. They just cut off the hood from the...
So we go back to the house now. And Elliot's having a bit of a time. He's like, why did I hear the screeching in the night? Why does nobody else hear it? Then he walks outside and sees these huge claw marks in the side of the wall, which then he asks John about. And John's like, no, I saw the dudes do them. It doesn't matter. So he's acting weirdly standoffish.
Yeah, very weird.
And then we kind of get deeper into this plot of like, Elliot's worried that his girlfriend Sasha and his friend John are like having an affair.
Yep.
And...
But why?
They just have such awful communication between any of them.
Terrible.
They never actually like get to the root of that or have a honest discussion about that kind of stuff. They just, from here on out through the movie, there's a lot of like accusing people of certain things and then saying, no, we're all acting crazy. Like, this is stupid. And then like, no, the bye-bye man is real. He's in my head, Like, it's... I despise that throughout the entirety of it. None of them could get on the same team.
It was
only when something was happening to them that they were suddenly like, oh, I believe in it now.
Yep.
I hated that.
It was so dumb.
But I thought Elliot was a nice guy and bad things kept happening to him. He's just a good guy.
He was. I definitely, like, halfway through the movie, I was like, ugh, I don't really like him. But then he kind of grew on me, mostly because he was the only character I cared about.
Yeah. He actually, I really did care about him as a character, and he was, like, probably the least terrible actor out of the entirety of the movie, right?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Most of us, like, there were some line deliveries that were a bit, but I blame that on, like, the script writing more than the acting of it, because, like, throughout the movie, I was like, no, I like what this guy's dishing out.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so in that, like, same kitchen scene, where... right after they see the claw marks and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's this weird sexual tension between John and Sasha, and then Sasha starts hallucinating too.
Yes.
And she sees a naked John, and he's like, let's just get out of here.
He's like, look at him,
look
and
at
now
him.
look at me.
Yeah! Oh my gosh, it was the freaking Old
like
Spice
the Old
ad.
Spice commercial. Look at your boyfriend, now look at me. Sadly, your boyfriend is not me.
Really, though, it had that much energy.
Which, again, kind of drives the fact of, like, are they having an affair?
Really? Because she wanted it.
By the end of the movie, you actually don't know.
You really
do not
don't
tell
know.
you for certain if they did. I think we can assume it was happening because they alluded to it a
so.
lot, especially with that sequence, right?
Oh,
where like her hallucination was that. Like,
well,
what's
and
going on there?
He kept saying things too. He was like, "You got the perfect girl."
Yeah, your girlfriend's perfect. I had to sleep with the dirty girl from the party. She's gross. I have to wash her off of me. Which is so rude to her. She was nice.
Yeah, I liked it. She was fine. Like. I hated it. Made me
dirty.
really hate John.
Don't believe stereotypes.
As a character, though.
Yeah, he was not very likable at all.
As soon as he said that, I gotta wash her off of me. I'm like, whoa,
yeah, no,
bro.
So he was an asshole of a character, and then the girlfriend, Sasha, was just so flat.
Oh my gosh.
Just so boring.
Her acting
Everything she did was the same and just drab.
There's multiple times throughout the movie where she has to scream. And I couldn't believe any of it. She was just like, and she would like hold her arms like straight.
But yeah, so then later on we find she's getting like sick. She's not feeling very well.
No. She's still sick.
Yeah, and so, which again is not really ever touched on that much. It's just like she's not feeling very well.
No.
And then like the boyfriend comes up to her and is like trying to comfort her and stuff, and she's like, "I lost you there for a second. You're hallucinating." And then she's like, "But I'm hallucinating too." Then shows him this notebook of these sketchy like Babadook-looking drawings of the Bye-Bye Man. It's like, okay, hold on. You guys were all just arguing over this, and you did not have his side there. You and John were trying to say he was crazy, but now you're like, oh, but actually I'm seeing it too.
I'm seeing it too.
Like, are you just embarrassed to say it in front of the other guy? Like, I don't understand. Like, you guys all need to get on the same page here.
Really, though. And so Elliot brings it up, like says it, and then John, like an idiot, says the Bye-Bye Man like a bunch of times. So I guess that's something that has kind of been established at this point. From what I can tell, the curse is in the name.
Yes, it is spread through that
a
word
la
of mouth.
Voldemort, right?
Which we can suss is like, you know, the reason why that guy in the very beginning shot in that flashback sequence was killing people because they had the knowledge.
They had the knowledge.
They could not live. He could not trust them to not tell someone.
Which is where don't say it, don't think it comes from. Because if you don't say it, then no one gets possessed or no one gets infected.
Exactly, right.
And if you don't think it, then you don't think to say it. But it's kind of like, I kept thinking about it being like the game. Like, you know that stupid thing where people are like, you lost the game.
Oh, yes.
It's like that same idea where you're like, oh, you lost the game. There is no game, but thinking you lost it means you lose it.
Exactly.
So,
right.
like,
So similar. Yeah, that's a good way to compare it.
It's like, if you say don't say it, don't think it, you are inherently thinking it.
Yes.
Right? The only way to really do it is just to like knock yourself out and go to sleep.
Or die. Or kill people.
Kill yourself is seems to be the plot point.
Because, it seems to be that, like, if you do not get rid of it, your hallucinations lead you to kill people, right? Yeah. It's not necessarily making a murderer out of you. It is like putting you in situations where you feel like you were in danger, you were seeing the wrong things, and then you end up accidentally killing people, right? And that's just kind of how it happens. So you have to stop it. Don't say it. Don't think it.
Don't say it. Don't think it.
There are several bad effects in this movie. There's a sequence sometime after they're all kind of arguing about it where it shows a bit of the wallpaper, which is like a hunter on the wall with a hunting dog, and the dog's head morphs and turns to the camera to look more like the hellhound.
It looked so
like
bad.
Garbage.
It literally, I made the comment that it looks like someone took like Microsoft Paint, and just like scribbled in a new face and
animated on a
it.
Commodore 64. It was terrible.
It was so bad.
They keep trying to sleep in their bedroom, which is like in the top floor of the house, like the attic space, basically, with this cloak hanging from the wall.
Oh my goodness.
That looks like a scary figure. I couldn't do it. No. As a regular human, I would never keep something like that on the other side of the room where I can always see it.
And it wasn't even like on a coat hanger. No, it was like floating almost.
Yeah, it was just on the wall. And they used that several times for like a little bit of a jump scare where the Bye-Bye Man comes out of that, right? Comes out of the shadow of that because it looks like the shadow of a man. Shadow of a man creeped out of sight. It was just so funny to me they kept it there. Especially since they would see, like the main character would see the Bye-Bye Man come from that. If that happened to me, I would burn that cloak. That cloak is gone. I would move out.
I wouldn't even be there anymore. But, like, there's even a point where the cloak falls to the ground, and then it's back hanging again.
Yeah, because, like, something happens with the Bye-Bye Man that makes it fall down, and he puts it back up at the same spot. Like, my dude, my brother, put it away.
My brother in Christ.
My brother in Christ. Burn the cloak, please.
Please.
So then they all slowly start to lose their minds, but, like, again, everyone is in such denial of it. So, like, John, the friend, is, like, completely in denial of it. He's not going to have anything to do with it. Yeah. And then the boyfriend and girlfriend are kind of like, we're in this together. We're going to figure this out. So, like, they split their ways because they have to go to school and stuff like that. And he goes to the library to start searching it up. Not Googling it.
No.
He searches it. The webpage literally says, search. This is a Google-less wasteland.
Yeah. That's what we call royalty-free Google.
Royalty-free Google search. Real on the nose there.
Really though.
I want to put together like a list of all the different like websites that are made for horror movies and stuff like that, because there's some pretty funny ones out there.
Really though. It's just so funny to me that is the first thought he has. He's like, I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna Google. Well, you Googled Bye-Bye Man, which made sense to me.
Yes.
But then he Googles don't think it, don't say it.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense because he didn't get anything from the Bye-Bye Man. Like, nothing was happening. He's like, what else do I know about this? I have nothing to search. What can I search?
I guess that's
Don't say it, don't think it. Sure. And then he ends up, do you remember that he ends up finding a file on it? Dead file
69.
Dead File 69.
Nice. Which was the year that the murders took place.
Yeah, it was just a funny number for them to pick, I guess.
We just
Probably
looked at each other and just
hey, nice.
Oh my goodness.
So he's actually getting some work done by researching here, I feel like it was actually a good use of research in it, right? Because then he ends up finding the story of the guy who was in the flashback sequence in the beginning and what happened there. Find out he was a writer who was writing a book basically about what this Bye-Bye Man is, right?
Yeah.
And it's, I guess in a way it was just like he was writing this story and the story came to life.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. They never really fleshed that out either. It's like, was he telling a story and he kind of made this come true? Or was he writing a story that came to him and was already in existence? Like, did the Bye-Bye Man find him through that kind of way? We never find out enough about the lore of the Bye-Bye Man.
You don't find out anything.
No, because there's that kind of thing that led to it. There's the coin. There's the train that is used throughout the entirety of the movie. There's always train sounds.
100%. I mean,
and
even
shots
in
of
the first logo of like 8 logos at the beginning of the movie had a train sound. And I was like, oh, train sound. We know there's a train.
Which I literally wrote like down at the beginning. I'm like, I'm sure the train will make sense at some point, right?
Yeah,
no.
It has to.
It does not.
It doesn't.
No, absolutely not. So he goes to the library, and then the friend John is in school. He's walking into class late.
Oh, yeah.
And he immediately is like, well, I'm too cool for school. I'm going to start scrolling on my phone through my photos for some reason. That's a good pastime. He doesn't go to like some social media or anything.
Literally, though, he's like, I'm going to go look at the last 10 pictures I've taken.
And within like 3 pictures, he ends up finding this like vintage-looking photo of the Bye-Bye Man on a train with his nice little dog.
Little doggy.
The Bye-Bye Man is kind of like one of the most likable characters in the movie.
Really, though? He's got a little dog.
Because it really seems like he kills these people, or I guess
he doesn't.
Indirectly he kills these
doesn't
people.
Kill anybody.
They kill themselves. He just kind of leads them to it.
Yeah.
And then like his dog feeds on them. So it's like he just cares about his dog.
Yeah, the dog, every time you see the dog around a dead person, the dog's like chewing on someone's face.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens to the face, though.
No.
Like, we saw a corpse after the dog was feeding on it.
I think it takes their eyes. I think is what's happening.
Oh, there was one shot.
There are some sequences. There are a couple, actually, where like people are like eyeless and they have all this blood protruding from their eyes.
Has to be something with the lore, right?
Yeah. Again, another thing. Like, why does this dog only eat the eyes? And like, tell me more about this dog. Tell me more about this man. I know nothing.
Really, though. Oh, we didn't talk about.
Character.
There's one bonding moment where they all go outside in the middle of the night to play baseball
for like 3 seconds.
Like that scene in Twilight.
Yeah, it really looks like they were trying to imitate that. And like as soon as they're outside, they're back inside.
They're back inside, and it wasn't even a baseball. It was like a blow-up football.
Nerf football. Yeah. It's just so funny because like even the main character Elliot's complaining about it. It's like, why do jocks always got to play sports even at parties? And then they play baseball for like 2 seconds.
And we discussed, we're like, that's Chekhov's baseball bat. Or like
it did end up coming back around.
It ended up happening.
Yeah, exactly.
It made no sense. And then one of my favorite moments in the movie happened. So Elliot's girlfriend's like sick, right? She's coughing. She's inexplicably sick. She's
kind of
super
just blaming
cold.
it on the fact that she was out playing baseball the night before for like 3 seconds. Clearly, that's enough to make you get sick.
And so Elliot looks at her and says, "Oh, you're shivering." She is obviously not shivering.
Yeah.
She looks warm.
And that's definitely like goes to show like Elliot here is doing well at acting, reading what the script has given to him, but like she's just not a great scene partner, right? You're shivering as he's talking to a completely still, very calm person, honestly.
Woman. Yeah.
She does not seem distraught whatsoever.
But then my favorite thing about that was he grabs her hand and just starts blowing cold air all over it.
I think he was trying to heat it up. Right?
No, he was just blowing cold air on it. It was so dumb.
The temperature of the breath from them watching the movie.
It made me so mad. I'm like, you're doing nothing. Grab her a blanket.
Well, I will agree with you on that because like in that or like in one of those shots, she was like complaining about being cold. She was in a bed, not under any blankets.
That's true.
The bed had blankets that she was not using to warm herself up when she was feeling sick.
Idiot. Anyway, back to the library.
So yeah, he's at the library, and for some reason. He goes to find this file, and the librarian is helping him out. He just decides to let her in on all of the information about this. I don't know why he trusts this librarian so much.
Really, though.
But he's just like, here, let me tell you everything about what's been going on in the Bye-Bye Man. And she is able to offer him some good information, so I guess that's nice. But it's like, you were putting her in danger, I think.
Though.
And I don't know if you're aware of that, but you should be, based on what you know at this point.
Absolutely. And so she says it a couple times. Like, it was actually kind of shocking.
She actually said it before he said it to her.
Oh, wait, yeah.
So how does she know about it? Because it's established at this point that once you know about it, bad things start to happen.
Yeah.
Because guess what? He tells her about all this stuff, and then later on he gets a phone call from her, and bad things definitely happen. She sounds super cool, and then she gets off the phone, and the shot pans out, and she's walking away with a bloody knife and 2 dead bodies behind her.
2 dead bodies on the floor.
But that, I guess, didn't happen before when she clearly had this knowledge, because she said the bye-bye man before he could tell her.
Maybe it is literally past like a cancer or like a disease.
Yeah, I guess.
Because he had the bye-bye man in him.
I guess so.
I don't know. It's a little
inconsistent at that point, I'm realizing now.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. So anyway, he's sitting at the library. She goes away. She's like, you do your studying, little boy. And so he's sitting there. He looks at his phone. Full battery.
Full battery.
Who has a full battery phone?
Right. Nobody.
And then he looks over and down the hall on another table.
All the way at the end of the library.
It's the bye-bye man.
It's the bye-bye man. It's one of our first like full shots of like him, and that is not so quick. We can actually get a good look at him. And I actually did like the makeup on his face.
Yes.
The prosthetic for that looked really neat. You know, I was really worried it was mostly going to be just regular Doug Jones with a little bit of makeup and like a cloak and stuff.
Give him
but the makeup actually looked good. But that's about where it stopped. He did not have a very interesting look about him beyond his face, which was mostly covered up anyway.
Yeah. He literally is just a cool looking face, a cloak, a polo, and then like some pants. It literally looks like he just showed up to work in his normal clothes and they put a prosthetic on his face. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, so he's like reading this story, right? And he sees the word bye-bye man. He scribbles it out, looks up. Bye-bye man moves closer.
Does like a Weeping Angels thing from Doctor Who, right?
Yeah,
Where you look away and look back up and he's closer.
Or the ghosts from Mario. Thank you.
That's true. You're right. Sorry. The OG. But like, you made a point, you're like, stop looking away.
Yeah, just stop. Like every time he's like, I have to look down to scribble.
Yeah, because he's like, I can't let this. He's trying to do, the same thing that the writer in the very beginning was doing, right? Like, I'm trying to eradicate any use of this from the world, Do you think,
so wild.
If this is the lore from that, if someone were to, like, try to go back on your justifying bye-bye man, if someone were to say that to another person, is the bye-bye man back in the world now because they said that?
I think so. Bye-bye.
Or does that go back to, like, what you were saying between the Elliot and the librarian? It's like, because he was carrying the virus of it, I guess. He spread it to her.
I really feel...
It's tough. It's really trying. It's fighting.
So... Well, we'll get to that in a second. So next what happens is he goes to the occult girl's house because she's like freaking out. He's like, come get my car.
Yeah, no, he actually calls her because he wants more information.
Oh, right.
Because she was proven to be like a good psychic. She knows what she's doing, right?
And she obviously heard something in the house.
Exactly. So I need to know everything you know, because he felt like he kind of reached a dead end there with the library, right? So he felt all he could. And then we come to her. He's trying to get more information from her, and then it shows her scrubbing blood off of her hands. Like,
what's going on?
What happened there, huh?
I thought she was just making some like red velvet cake.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And
she was
some
clearly
red
baking,
food coloring on herself.
So he picks her up to try to get as much information as possible, and she's basically confirming every fear that he has, right? Once you know it, that's the end. You basically have to kill anybody who knows it, which is sounding a little bit spooky, right? And then he looks down at her bag, and she's got like this bloody handle sticking out of her bag. He's like, that looks kind of fishy. And then as they're driving past these train tracks, she sees like a scene of this like car crash of this family, and she's screaming at him to stop. He eventually stops on the other side of the train track. She starts running back to help this family. Yeah. Lo and behold, he does not see this family, but he does see the train.
Which I'm gonna be honest with you. It took me a while to realize he couldn't see the family because of the way this scene was edited. The way it switches between their perspectives was that it didn't switch between their perspectives. Yeah. Like, sometimes it would show the car crash, other times it wouldn't.
Exactly.
And it had no defining feature. I had a really hard time with that scene because I was like, okay, now he's touching the hammer that's covered in blood.
Because, as soon as she runs out of the car, he takes a second to be like, what's this? And it's a hammer.
Yeah, it's a hammer. Yeah. It's a hammer. It's covered in blood. He's like, okay, well, I need to chase after her. So he's this madman chasing after her with a hammer.
Yeah, with his fingerprints all over this murder weapon.
Why would you do that? I mean, yes, in the moment you're freaking out, but if you see something covered in blood, your first response is to be like, I'm going to get all of my hands all over this as much as I can.
And I'm going to start chasing after her so I look like a bad guy, right?
Really, though?
And then, so she ends up walking right onto the train tracks and just stopping right on it. Gets hit straight. That train rips right through her.
One of the best line deliveries in the movie. Because he's running. It's like, no, the train. And then you see a train.
No, there's a train.
No, there's a train. And then the train conductor, no!
Which, I mean, what else are you going to say as a train conductor when someone hops? You can't stop the train fast enough to stop them, but it was just such a weird line.
I just feel like if that were me, I'd be like, oh shit!
Yeah.
Like, get off the tracks! Not, no!
There's a train! No!
No!
And then she's dead.
She's dead.
And then he's basically posed as like this murder victim, or like this suspect in this murder, because the train guy saw him running at her with the hammer in her hand.
There was no
apparently
car crash.
She's screaming for help, so it all looks really bad. They find out her roommate is dead because she killed her. And then, so we're introduced to this cop character who does not use a ton.
Trinity from The Matrix, though.
Yeah.
She's here for some reason.
Who was great in The Matrix.
Was she? Let's be honest. Okay. Anyway, so she's interrogating him. And the whole time you're like, how's he going to get out of this? And somehow he convinces her.
Yeah, he gives her a dialogue about how, like, she wants him to tell, and at this point he's like, we are keeping our mouths shut, nobody's going to say the bye-bye man, because he's kind of figuring it out at this point. He's probably the smartest of all of them. And before that is another sequence between all of them where they're arguing about whether or not to say this thing, and like they're all on different pages again. I'm like, you guys are so deep in this at this point, just like be on the same side.
Really, though.
Be on the team and fight this together. Why are you all fighting about this? Aren't you friends?
Why?
And apparently they've been friends since they were like little kids, and it did not feel that way through their relationship.
I genuinely didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
It was
But so he's not going to tell her the name, and that's kind of what she's trying to get out of him. And he's like, is honesty the best policy, basically, is what he asks her. And she's like, yeah. And then he goes this whole thing about, like, if you saw this gruesome murder and your kids ask you how your day was, are you going to tell them? And she's like, no, I wouldn't, basically.
No, I wouldn't.
Which is, like, one of the, honestly, more compelling, like, monologues in the movie, which is not incredibly cheesy. It was just so weird that after hearing that, she's like, yeah, you're free to go.
Yeah, you're right. You can go. You didn't go.
And she had found enough evidence to be like, oh, we actually found a suicide note from the girl who was like, I confessed to killing the roommate and was gonna kill the three of you guys at the house as well. So like, basically you're off, you know. So like he was off fine. And then he goes to the house. Back to the house where he's convinced through the bye-bye man's powers that he sees his girlfriend and his friend having their way with each other, right?
Going crazy. But before that, he goes to the house of the lady.
It's after.
Is that after?
Yeah.
This movie was so busy.
Because this is when he sees his friend, like, as he thinks is having sex with his girlfriend, right? He grabs the bat, hits him over the head. Turns out they were not. They were both fully clothed. It is weird that she's sleeping in his bedroom, though.
Yeah, what?
Not in her own bedroom, but again, we'll never know if they were having an affair or not.
Never know.
So yeah, then he kind of like, he starts going crazy, but then as he's trying to help his friend, he reaches into the pocket of his jacket and finds the address where he got the nightstand. So that's how he finds out finds the address of the woman.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. So then he's kind of going crazy. He ties him up. He's like, I'm sorry I did this. I almost killed you, so I'm going to go fix this. I've got a fix for this. He takes the nightstand, throws it into like a creek near the house. Doesn't even destroy it, doesn't burn it, just like throws it away. Just like, yeah, that's enough. That's good.
I mean, I've watched enough Supernatural in my life to like understand that if there's a demonic presence doing something, there's probably something holding them to the life, right?
Yeah.
You could safely assume this nightstand had something to do with that. Right. Because of how important it was, how much it drew everybody to it. Like, why didn't you burn it?
Yeah, honestly.
We were all like, oh, he's going to burn it. Nope, he's going to burn it. No, he
that would have been the
into
obvious choice, right?
Threw it into a ditch.
So yeah, he throws it away. Then he goes to the house of the writer who was killing people in the very beginning again, right? This is where he's introduced back to the story. We find his wife and basically find out that, like, he's a hero in her eyes, right? She's like, no, he knew what he was doing. He knew all of these people were going to spread it around. He had to kill them and then kill himself. And the guy's like, how did he not get you? How did you survive? She's like, I didn't know. He didn't tell me.
He never told me the
words.
And
it was at this point, in kind of a quick turnaround, he decides, oh, it's fear. It's like, don't say it, don't think it. It's a clue. If I don't think it, if I'm not afraid of this thing, I don't believe the hallucination it's giving me, then I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
And he does. Immediately after that, the old lady goes to like the fire and is immediately lit on fire. And he's like, hold on. Take a second. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to stop being afraid. And I'm good. And she's fine.
I'm good.
And everything's okay.
You're burning, but I'm going to breathe.
I'm going to breathe real quick. I'm going to stop this. If only that worked for, like, anxiety attacks and stuff. Like,
no, really, though.
This is a superpower he has.
Next time I have a panic
attack. At this
point,
he's supernatural.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to be like, no, wait. This is just fear.
Yep, this is fear.
This is burning body.
And this is fine. But yeah, and then in that sequence we get another flashback of the writer as he's losing his mind. He's written "Don't say it, don't think it" all over the house. He is so bad. He's such a bad actor. Rough. Why did they bring him back again? I could have done without that flashback because he really pulled me out of it.
Yeah, for real.
So then basically our lead, Elliot, decides to drive back to the house. He's going to save his friends. He's like, I'm going to help them. We can beat this thing by not being afraid of it. On his way, he runs over the librarian who had killed some people. And that's a very quick moment where he's like, well,
I guess she's fake.
Probably had to kill her anyway, right? He probably believes she's a hallucination at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It is at that point that we reach the climax of the movie, which is basically Sasha, the girlfriend, and John, the friend, are both having hallucinations with each other. That ends in them like almost killing each other. Elliot makes it into the house, and he brings a gun with him.
Why did he bring a gun?
And that's why I'm so confused, because at this point he's like, they're just hallucinations. We don't have to believe this. We don't have to kill anybody, right? But he brings a gun. For what? Who's he going to shoot? The bye-bye man?
I think so. I think that was his intention.
It just didn't
work. In my mind.
Yeah.
In order for that to make sense.
So guess what? He gets in there and starts wrestling his friend off, the girl who's like trying to stab her with scissors at this point because he thinks she's somebody else. Wrestles her off, and then he's trying to stab him, and then he shoots him. Because of course. Because why not? Because you had a gun. Of course someone's going to die. And then you want to tell the reveal shot there?
This shot. So, put yourself in the shoes of a man who just wrestled your best friend off of your girlfriend. And then he's trying to stab you. Mm-hmm. So he shoots him. The camera is staying at the ceiling. The man falls on top of him. He lifts him back up. And it's the girlfriend.
It's the girlfriend.
They shot the girlfriend.
The hallucination got to him in the end.
It was fear all along. So anyway, she's dead.
She's dead now. And then John's over there on the side, kind of out of it, because I guess he got stabbed a little bit.
Pretty much dying.
And then the bye-bye man is there really like spooking up the scene. He takes off his hood. He's looking all nasty. His hellhound is eating the eyes of the girl. And then he touches his forehead and gives him a vision of his brother. Now his older brother is at the house with his little niece. And he's like, oh no, they can't come in the house. So he has to go down there and stop them from coming in. And he basically decides, my only way out of this, he shoots himself.
He shoots himself. Yep. And it was kind of an interesting idea to have the bye-bye man project thoughts into his mind by poking him. But to me, it was just like, boop. Like a little nose boop.
Boop. Just reaches one elongated finger to his forehead.
Which, so much potential.
Yeah, and can I say, the effects on the hellhound were so bad.
So bad.
Like Doug Jones looks great in his prosthetic makeup, but whatever they used to make that hellhound was not it. I would have rather had a regular looking dog.
I'm convinced it was just, I'd be interesting to look into it, but I think it was just a dog in a green suit, and they're like, oh, yep, just throw some red stuff on him.
Yeah, exactly. So the older brother is outside of the house. He hears his brother shoot himself, right? And he's, my brother is dead. He goes to find his niece, who he's worried is missing at this point. He's like, oh no, he's panicking, finds her in the car, and she sees the house is on fire now. She's like, oh no. And her dad goes to her, it's okay. The fire can't hurt him anymore.
Doesn't call the police. No, none of that.
He doesn't even seem that distraught that his brother is dead now and in this burning house.
My brother's dead, I guess. So then one of my favorite sequences happens in the movie. Yeah. So they're driving away, and she's like, Daddy, look, Elliot left me these coins. The coins come back for the first time in an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's like, I found them on the dresser. The dresser wasn't in the ravine anymore. It was standing up by the trash
just
cans.
Right next to the house.
If it was in the house, it would be on fire. But then she's like,
could have burned it.
I opened it up, Dad, and there was writing on the inside. And so obviously the audience is like, yes. She's gonna get the bye-bye man.
Not the little girl, no.
We stopped it. And he's like, well, what did it say? And she goes, Daddy, I can't read in the dark. What do you think I am? A flashlight? It's the dumbest line.
Honest, though. Went away to subvert our expectations of what that was gonna be, but that was just so funny. What do you think I am? A flashlight?
It's so stupid.
And to finish out how this movie is, the cop who was there earlier comes by, finds John, who was in the burning house. He's actually alive somehow.
How did he survive?
I don't understand.
He was right next
He was
to
there
fire.
For a while too.
Yeah.
He was there at the the source of the fire, right? But he survives somehow. Don't know how. And she's like, I need you to tell me. I need to know. I don't know why she like needs to know this so bad. She's like, she clearly bad things are happening if you have this information, but she wants in on it anyway. And like, he barely whispers it to her, and then she just looks straight into the camera. Roll credits.
Literally directly into the camera. I should say, it wasn't completely obvious what lit the house on fire, which is why we didn't really talk about it. It was like a small...
We just happened to see
in the corner of the room on one shot, there was a lamp on the bed
and it was smoking.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's Bye Bye Man.
Yeah, that's the Bye Bye Man.
Bye Bye movie.
Want to hear some trivia about it?
I really do.
I could not find a lot of interesting trivia about it, but I did find out about the story on which the film is based, which is called The Bridge to Body Island.
Which is based on a true story, right?
I think so. I'm not sure. Has a much more complex mythology for the Bye Bye Man, which... was not in the movie at all. No. I would have loved to see any of this. This is much more interesting than the actual movie was. This is kind of a snore fest a lot of the time.
Really, though.
We didn't touch on that a lot. But like, it was very pretty boring. So the Bye Bye Man was an albino born in New Orleans in 1912 who ran away as a child and became a derelict who lived in a train yard.
Okay.
After going blind, he began murdering people and cutting out their eyes and tongues, which would probably be the reason, like, they have these empty sockets with blood pouring out of them, right? Which he apparently sewed together and brought to life using voodoo. The resultant creature became the Bye Bye Man's literal seeing eye dog, helping him hunt his prey.
Whoa.
So that's where his hellhound comes from.
Wait, that's a cool story.
Right, that's a neat story that we never find anything else about. That is more interesting than anything that happened in the movie.
That's way cooler.
You give us such a cool character who's based on this and you didn't use this? What?
Wait, that's a lot like the Midnight Man.
So yeah, several elements from the story, notably the dog and the motif of the trains, were retained for the movie, though their purpose is left undefined. Like, tell us more about that.
Tell us more.
What's wrong with you?
It was... Oh man, that is so disappointing.
I loved that. I would watch that movie. I would watch the origin story of the Bye Bye Man quicker than I would watch this one. Right? That's much more interesting. And then the only other bit of trivia I could find was during a screening of the film. Though it, is a horror movie, the audience burst out laughing anytime the girlfriend Sasha said a single line. She was that bad.
I mean, we were doing the same thing,
honestly,
too.
though.
I'm surprised she didn't get a Razzie for that performance.
Honestly, though, she should have. So let's discuss our pros and cons of this movie, before we discuss what our verdict for this movie is.
Absolutely. So my pros, definitely, I know I've talked about it a lot, but that cinematography.
Really, though?
Like, it wasn't like the best from beginning to end. And it definitely didn't save the movie, but there were some really, really good shots and really good, compelling moments done with that. And then I gotta say, the demon dog as a concept, not the way it was presented.
No, could have been a lot cooler as a voodoo thing made up of eyes and tongues.
My wife Emily watched this movie with us, and the entire time she just was like, "The dog, the dog,
the dog!"
She was so excited about the dog.
It was great. It just made the Bye Bye Man more likable.
Yeah. What are some pros for you?
For pros for me, I liked the number one for me was obviously the cinematography.
Yeah.
I loved the cinematography. Towards the end, honestly, though, as boring as the movie was, I was captivated enough to stop taking as many notes.
Me too.
I am interested in this story, and I think that's just because it was the source of it is so interesting. In this Bye Bye Man from the story,
They teased enough of it.
But yeah, I was actually enthralled enough about it. I was actually liking the story. I think I was right about how it was a really neat idea, just really just utilized poorly. It was just poorly executed there. And then my third pro is just Doug Jones. It's great. He's spooky as always. Despite a bad script, he still gives us a great creature that is spine chilling in ways. I loved him.
Even if this was for him one of his lesser performances, as a whole, right? Yeah. Not his performance, but the character was kind of boring.
Just him as he's just standout.
He
always.
brought it.
He
brought it out, even if he was just pointing 90% of the time.
So tell me about your cons.
The CGI, man. The CGI.
Any use of it was just a mistake.
and then I wrote the unexplained train bullshit.
Yes.
Which apparently he was in a train yard.
Apparently has a backstory.
And I mean, I guess that kid had a picture on his phone that one time of him in a train car.
We'll show trains again, but we never knew enough about trains to make it make sense.
Yeah. And then I gotta say, man, the Bye Bye Man's clothes. They disappointed me so
sad, which
bad.
I guess kind of makes sense if he was a derelict at a train yard, but like with such interesting, cool makeup look, I wish his costume looked a bit better.
He looks like he just stepped out of a Costco and then took eyes out. Like I don't understand. It was so poorly used.
So my cons for the movie was just bad writing. I feel like a lot of it could have been done a lot better if, just that better script writing. It just wasn't my favorite. And then just bad acting on top of that from like 90% of the cast. I think really like the standout actor for me in the movie was Elliot. I liked him a lot. And then like I know I've harped on it a lot, but just nobody was consistent with their feelings on the situation at hand.
No one.
They were always back and forth and always against each other, even though they were all dealing with the same shit, It
kind of felt like every other chapter of the script was, or act or scene or whatever, was written by a different person.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what it felt like, because sometimes they would care, sometimes they wouldn't care, sometimes they would know, sometimes they wouldn't know. It was very wild.
Yeah,
I think Jonathan Penner probably learned how to write scripts on Survivor.
Must have been, right?
Survivor's not a place to learn to write
No,
script.
exactly. So that's clearly what happened there. So Derek, what was your verdict of the bye-bye?
I'm having a hard time deciding. I think this one's horrible to me.
I was going to say, I was worried because like after we watched the movie, you seemed pretty distraught. I was like, this might be the first review we have where we're actually in very different places, because I actually didn't hate it.
I thought
it was
either.
Like pretty fine. So like my verdict as well was horrible. I thought, it was enough for me. I did not despise it. I do not regret watching it. I definitely think this deserves the horrible rating.
I think so as well. And I think a lot of that comes from there was enough for me to hate as well as enough for me to like.
Yes.
Like it literally fell right into the middle.
Yeah, and I think we're still trying to define exactly what horrible is.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, right? No, a good mix of like, clearly it is not the best movie, it deserves some of these ratings, but like there's some likable things about it that make it a decent movie, Like that was a good time, honestly. I'm not upset about that one.
A great time. And Isaac, I can't read in the dark. What do you think I am? A flashlight?
Goodbye.